welcome back to another episode of Roll the Bomb. I'm your host, Zach Moore. We are back for another episode of NASCAR content. Excited to be here again. Excited to bring another episode. Lots of stuff to cover up, some stuff to talk about that had to do with Las Vegas, maybe some driver beef. Dale Jr. clears up some things, so I'm looking forward to getting all into it, so let's get to it. The TV ratings just got dropped for this past weekend's race at Las Vegas. It got a total of 4.3 million viewers, up 9% from last year's race. This is big. This is huge. It's great numbers. And it probably had to do with the great race we saw at Atlanta. There was a lot of buzz. There was a lot of talk, a lot of hype from that race. Kyle Larson dominated the race. I still thought it was a solid race. Hopefully this is a sign that the momentum keeps coming with NASCAR. We still get good increases in viewership. But it's great to see, the things that NASCAR is doing to help grow the sport, like the Netflix series. I also believe that's also a big key in helping the sport to have better viewership. Hopefully those viewership stays around. I think NASCAR in a way could have tricked the viewership because they gave them two super speedway type races, pack racing, where the cars stay very compact and they draft off each other. I'm worried that some fans think that's how the racing is for all season long, when it's actually not, when we actually do go to traditional mile and a halves, short tracks where the cars will get more spread out. But in my opinion, can still produce very, very good racing that also shows the drivers and teams' skills and talents. But all this is a great, great sign when it comes to viewership for NASCAR heading into the rest of the season. Now we're going to get into maybe some potential driver beef going on. There's two little rivalries that could be fewing. The first one is with Ross Chastain and Ryan Blaney. Looks like Ross Chastain had some strong words towards Ryan Blaney's driving near the end of the Las Vegas race.
Our balance was going to play into putting two tires on, and it did. And the five and I a few side drafts, and knew if we couldn't get to the lead that we had to then play defense, and I really just ran as fast as I could there at the end, and it was pretty cool to see Blaney blocking me at the end. Pretty cool to see his evolution with the air blocking. It was proud of him.
So who knows? This could just be for one race, but Ross kind of talks about near the end of the race, he, I believe, two tires in the end of the race, and is hopefully versus the guys that were running four tires, and he was hoping that he could be able to hold off those guys. I didn't see him holding off Larson. Larson's car was too strong. But then, after that, once he got past Larson, it was a whole game of trying to keep the cars behind him, even though they were much faster. And he kind of faded back, multiple spots. He ended up finishing fourth after getting passed by Blaney. I was looking back at the race and seeing if there was any time that the camera showed, Blaney aggressively blocking Ross. There only showed them of Blaney making the pass on Ross. After that, we didn't see anything more. They cut to the rest of the final 10 laps of the battle between Tyler Reddick and Kyle Larson. In my opinion, he's getting mad at Blaney for aero blocking him. That's really known now in the next gen car. Pretty much, if you just block them and take away their air, it's going to be hard for them to pass you, even though they have a faster car. Air is very important. So it really affects the car, and you can just kind of block them. But then most of the time, you're able to get to their outside or inside. You're most likely able to make the pass. I feel like Ross is being a hypocrite in a sense because he's complaining about the way Blaney is blocking him when Ross is very known for aero blocking someone. Literally in the championship race where Blaney was trying to get around Ross to take the lead because his car was probably faster at that one time, Ross was aero blocking the crap out of Blaney. And Blaney was a championship car. He was leading the championship at that moment. And Ross was not giving him any breaks. They were racing very aggressive. We saw Blaney flip off Ross. He bumped Ross in the turns. So I just think it's a little funny that Ross is complaining about this when he does it the exact same thing to many other drivers, not just Blaney. That's what he's known for. So I'm not sure if this will really be I'm not saying this is going to be a long-term thing, but there is something to maybe look out for when we come into these next couple of races like a Phoenix. Who knows? I'm going to be interested to see how Ross is in this race because he just won the last Phoenix race. There's a new short track package. But I'm very interested to see if this really is just a one-time thing. Drivers are angry. They're racing for, top 5 spot. Or this is something that could linger long into the season. But we'll see. Definitely something to look out for. Next potential beef or disagreement could be with teammates. Corey LaJoie had some strong words about the way Carson Hocevar raced him near the end of the Las Vegas race. Take a look.
Got plugged with Transpire teammates and throw like after that whatever.
Yeah. What's the conversation going to look like about just an incident like that? We'll see.
So in those comments, he said that he got kind of plugged into the wall and his car drove like crap. He actually ended up spinning out near the end of the race. I believe that after this contact, there is a video. I'll show it. I actually was able to find it. It was on board. In my opinion, that contact doesn't look that severe. I mean, even the announcers were not freaking out by it or making a big deal about him getting into the wall. He just kind of rubbed it, scraped it, like it tapped it. So I don't know that. Look, I'm not a race car driver, so it must have affected it. And who knows? That could have been a reason that he spun out. Excuse me. It's weird. I feel like Corey LaJoie is getting into a lot of other drivers. I guess Austin Cindric is the only other driver, and now his teammate. But we're already 3 races in, and we're already hearing a lot about Corey LaJoie. People saying this about him, and then he says this about this driver. I just think Corey is a very aggressive driver. I think he feels a lot of pressure. I feel like knowing that the capability of the Spire cars now, he said that he would feel disappointed if they not make the playoffs. But also, I think he sees the potential in his teammates. I think Carson Hocevar is very talented. I was impressed by Carson Hocevar and the way he ran in the 42 Legacy Motor Club this past season, last season, especially Bristol. I was at that race. He finished 11th. He was impressive. I think this car has really fit his driving style for Carson. Carson has also made a lot of bad decisions too. He's also a very aggressive driver. He's been called out by a lot of drivers, especially the way he raced that championship Phoenix race. He got a bad look, so I think he's also trying to clear it up. But he's also not going to change his driving style. He still wants to. I think he realizes he has a fast car, and he wants to take advantage of that. Carson ran really well in the race. I think he was in the top 10. Finished, I believe, in the top 15. So he raced really well. Definitely that content from Carson is going to ruin Corey's day. He spun out, like I said that. So maybe there's some frustrations there. It will be interesting to see if this really, boils over to the rest of the season. They're teammates, and in my opinion, they're gonna talk about it. But who knows? You can say that, but I think these cars are hard to drive, and it's hard to pass. So I think that's also what leads to this aggressiveness, right? You're trying to get every spot. You're not gonna let off. The field is tighter than it's ever been, in my opinion. We're seeing guys that backmarker teams or teams that you wouldn't expect in the top 10, like Aspire. Stu Haas showed some good potential too. So there's a lot of cars that you don't usually see in the top 10. So I think that has to do with the car. If we look at the points, Corey LaJoie is 17th in points, and Carson Hocevar is 25th in points. So when it comes to their point situation, they're nowhere near in points. So I don't think, right now, Corey's still the top dog. But we had 2 super speedways. So there's a lot at those races that are out of your control. So when we get to these traditional mile and a half short tracks, that's where I'm excited. I'm excited to see how this group of Spire cars, Carson and LaJoie, compare to each other. And Zane, he's had a rough start, man. I'm worried about Zane. And look, I said it again already, but the 2 super speedways, it's hard to really go off on any of that. And I think he wrecked or hit the wall and ruined his. I think he broke a toe link in the Las Vegas race that ruined his entire day. It was early in the race too, so that's also not great for him. He hasn't had a good start. It'll be interesting to see if we can get some consistency going and see where he stacks up compared to those teammates. I just think this is a case of both drivers being aggressive and one driver getting the bad end of another driver's being aggressiveness and trying to get the best spot and best finish possible. Last thing I want to get into has to do with Dale Earnhardt Jr. Last week, there was reports that Dale Earnhardt Jr. is leaving NBC, not going to broadcast at all this year. Is going to go to Amazon Prime and Warner Bros. Discovery Sports next year when those 2 partners become TV partners in NASCAR's new TV deal. And there was a lot of rumors, speculation of why he was leaving. Reddit post that has recently been deleted. It was from Cobbler Sad 6055, and this is what it said. NBC wanted Dale to stay in the Charlotte studios with Burton and Allen and call the races remotely. Also, as the comment below says, NBC and Jr. often clashed behind the scenes as Jr. was yelled at on the producer channels because he kept taking his eyes off the TV monitor in the booth, and Junior likes to actually look out of the windows and call a race. NBC management does not like that. Comments kind of say that Dale Earnhardt Jr., they were going to move, I guess NBC was going to go to a remote booth like Fox does for the truck races, and I guess also he was clashing with producers because Junior will always look out the window and watch the actual race live when he was told to look at the monitors like everyone else is to watch the race like normal fans would on TV. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. did bring up stuff like this in last week's podcast before these rumors were speculating.
Yeah, if I continue to broadcast in NASCAR, I want to be at the racetrack. If they ever, I'm never going to work a job where they're like, man, we're going to have you here in Charlotte and call the race from this remote location. I need to see the track. I need to see the energy. I need to feel the fans. All that really makes me better. I'm a fan. I want to be at the race watching it. And I want to look out that window and see the race because, I'm watching program. I'm watching what you're seeing at home. But I need to look and say, hey, man, is the seventh place car catching the sixth place car? Is that where we need to take the cameras? And then I can get in talk to the producer and say, I think there's a great battle happening or about to happen. So let's try to get there in the next lap or two because it's developing.
So from those comments, it kind of lines up with what the Reddit post was saying. That post actually was recently deleted. It sounds like how he wants to be at the racetrack, which I think all fans want the actual broadcasters and commentators to be at the racetrack. The commentating is way better. The truck broadcasts are very, very slow. They're quiet. The broadcasters have no energy. And they just miss a lot when the broadcasters are looking at monitors. And then the whole thing of him looking out the window instead of the monitors kind of says true with what he's saying in this clip. And this was last week. And I guess Dale Jr. did respond to this whole Reddit post, pretty much saying they're untrue. This is all untrue. NBC is not considering a remote booth. I was never scolded for anything. NBC was amazing. Everyone there taught me a ton. I promise that's the truth. Nothing but respect and love for everyone there that I came in contact with. So he says they're untrue, and this was actually he was never scolded for. In my opinion, I agree with Dale Earnhardt Jr. Some people will say that they wouldn't agree because the Reddit post kind of lines up with what the video I just showed you is. But this is all good because I think this is the best for all scenarios. Fox, to me, in my opinion, is improving. I like Mike Joy, Kevin Harvick, Clint Bowyer. They all clash well. I do think Fox production and camera angles could be better. And then also, NBC, I think they're going to be really good. NBC is considered the best. I think they are the best when it comes to the booth and production, all that, the seriousness they put in NASCAR, right? And now, next year, they're going to have Dale Earnhardt Jr. and whoever else Prime chooses and TNT chooses to be in the booth. NBC is really, really good. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. made that even better when he came in. Now, I'm not saying that Dale Earnhardt Jr. isn't a massive loss for NBC because it is. I really enjoyed him with the NBC crew. He clashed well. But I think it's perfect. You're going to have good Fox, and you're going to have Prime and TNT joint there with Dale Earnhardt Jr., and you're going to have credibility, which is important. I can't wait to listen to Dale Earnhardt Jr. I'm excited to see who they bring in. It looks like, in my opinion, they're going to have a joint booth. I hope they bring in Alan Bestwick because everyone likes him. He used to be the lead commentator for ESPN. When ESPN was broadcasting NASCAR races, I hope it's Alan Bestwick and Dale Earnhardt Jr. and whoever else they choose. Maybe they keep it two-person. And I hope they're broadcasting the 5 Prime races, Amazon Prime races that you need a subscription to watch, and then also the TNT races. I hope that's how it works for all 3 parts of the NASCAR season. That's all I'm going to say about that. There's no bad blood, looks like, between NBC and Dale Earnhardt Jr. All parties are happy, and I think it's all going to work out in the best interest for NASCAR and the fans. Well, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Really enjoyed talking about NASCAR content. Love this sport. Let me know what you think about all the stuff I talked about. Do you think any of those beefs between those drivers are going to last long? Do you think it's just a one-race type thing? What do you think about the great TV ratings we saw for Las Vegas? Do you think those continue throughout the season? And then what do you think about Dale Earnhardt Jr. going to Prime and TNT, and how do you think NBC will do without him? Besides that, thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.